Welcome back to the channel. It's Sunday. It's time to go through some recent sales of CGC-graded comic books that sold recently on eBay. I've got a mix of auctions as well as buy it now so you guys can compare prices. And it's across the spectrum, just different books that I find interesting, books that either I have in my collection or that I like to have in my collection. And it's always good to kind of keep an eye on what's happening out there in the market. So across the spectrum, let's take a look at some recent sales. First is Amazing Spider-Man number 252. This is the first appearance of the black costume, a pretty well-known book, a great key issue. This one was a newsstand edition, 9.8. It did have off-white to white pages. If I'm going to buy this book, I would get white pages. I mean, there's just so many of them available out there. And yes, the discount will be there if you buy an off-white to white page quality. But for me, it's a 1984 book. You're better off sticking with white pages for kind of, in my opinion, this is again, take or leave my opinion here. If you're buying high grade books, 9.6s, 9.8s, stick with white pages when you're talking about the Bronze and Copper Age, in my opinion. And even into some, 70s books, that maybe are on the borderline. You can consider off-white to white when you get really expensive. But for something like this, I personally, this one sold at $13.25 in an auction, which is probably right. It's about fair. But if you spend an extra couple $100, you can get the white pager. And I think it's worth it from, an investment perspective. I mean, I'm not saying anything that I'm going to be covering today is the greatest investment, but if you are buying CGC graded books, you do at least have an eye towards what they're going to be worth down the line. And this is one where I think you should pony up. If you're going to get a 9.6 or a 9.8, I would get the white pages. I would actually prefer a 9.6 white pages versus a 9.8 off white to white. That's just me. But to each their own. Next up is the big one. This is ASM 300 in a direct edition, 9.8 white pages. Obviously, the origin and first full appearance of Venom. There's a lot of rumors that Thomas Hardy is going to reprise his role as Venom in the next Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 4. And I hope that happens. I mean, I didn't really enjoy the Venom movies that much, to be honest with you. They weren't exactly the kind of tone that I liked. But I love the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I think they're really, really well done. And No Way Home, for example, was just, that movie was very, very good. And if they bring Venom into that, I think it would be a really cool kind of mashup. And this one sold at $2,800. That's kind of the going rate. You might get it sub $2,600, $2,700 in an auction. But that's a good price point to me. I mean, I have seen some go lower. It just depends on colors and how well it's cut and centered. This is a very nicely centered book, though. And the way to look at it is on the right-hand side, the 300s. If they're all pretty close, which these are, it means it's been cut and is wrapped really perfectly. And those tend to get an extra couple $100 or so versus copies that either have scuffs or some color issues on the blue foot. Or all kinds of weird stuff that happens with this book. And you can afford to be choosy, right? There's a lot of them out there in a 9.8 or 9.6. And to me, if you're going to spend this kind of money, get a really nice centered copy like this with good colors. And this one was freshly graded as well. This is on my want list. Not this year. Not this year. I don't have I'm not going to be buying anything, I don't think, this year. But this is one I would like to pick up. But $2,800, certainly fair for how nice that copy presented relative to some of the others out there. A modern book I wanted to at least point out, there's a heavy rumors that Sydney Sweeney might be playing Black Cat in the Tom Holland movies, and I hope that happens. Certainly easy on the eyes, as you guys know. But in terms of Black Cat comics, there's obviously her first appearance and things like that, which are more expensive books. In terms of modern books, I've always loved this cover by J. Scott Campbell, and this is one that does have a lot on the census and has held up very well just because there's demand for it. And it's just a really kind of sexy cover that I've always liked. So if you like Black Cat, this is a pretty nice one to buy and hold. Price point's pretty attractive. $250 to $275 is about the max you need to pay for it. And that's ASM 607 from 2009. Spider-Man Noir #1. I think there's a Disney Plus series coming out with Nicolas Cage. I'm assuming he's voicing him. He's not going to be playing him because he's like 70 years old. Not really, but he's old. So I think it's like an animated type show, which I hope they have the similar tone. Well, not similar tone, but similar quality to the Across the Spider-Verse Miles Morales movies. He obviously made an appearance in that. He's kind of a multiverse Spider-Man that carries a gun, kind of a detective noir type of thing. And this is his first appearance, and this book has held up very well. It's gone up. It's really gone up in price since they announced that Nicolas Cage series. And it's a great cover too. So if you're into the kind of the Spider-Verse variants, that's a really good book to look at. Spider-Man Noir #1 from 2009. That's his first appearance. A little bit older book. This is obviously a classic Frank Miller book. Daredevil #168, the origin and first appearance of Elektra. She obviously made an appearance in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, very brief. This is a newsstand edition, 9.8 white pages. At auction, $26.51. That is also held up very well. I don't know if they'll do anything more with Elektra, but, Daredevil is in the collective conscience right now because of the incredible series, which I really enjoyed it. I don't know if any of y'all have watched it on Disney Plus, but it's a very well done series in terms of the acting and dialogue. I mean, it's not the most action packed in the world, but I think it really sets up nicely for Daredevil versus Kingpin in season 2. Hopefully, I imagine that's coming, but they did a very, very nice job with it. It's just kind of a dark, very well acted, very good dialogue and script. So highly recommend that miniseries on Disney Plus. But, Disney Plus has knocked it out of the park. I mean, they have knocked it out of the park recently with some of their series like Skeleton Crew, like the new Daredevil. Andor season 1 is out. I have not watched it yet, but I'm excited about that one. There's just a lot of good content. They have gone for quality over quantity, and I'm hoping that they've learned their lessons from their past missteps. But anyway, Daredevil 168 newsstand, $26.51. Very nice looking book there. Some Star Wars books. This was an interesting reprint of Star Wars #2. Usually the reprints have a blank barcode box in the lower left-hand corner. This one was, I guess, a reprint with the newsstand, an actual barcode. And I had never seen a newsstand reprint of Star Wars #2. They're usually like a Whitman's, baggy type thing with a blank box in there. So first time I've ever seen this one, and it sold for big money, $5.99. So I imagine there's not many of these on the census since I have not seen that. That's obviously a reprint, but it's the first appearance of Han Solo, Chewbacca, and Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars #2, the original from 1977. If you want the first print or, the original copy, you can probably pick it up for $900 to $1,000 right now. So this one was a discount to that, but still more than what the blank barcode box reprint version goes for. Most of you don't care about what I'm talking about right now. Ahsoka, we've got some signed books, and we've got a few more signed books coming up a little bit later on. I do like signature series books. I think it's a great way to collect autographs and have a great kind of an artistic display piece with those autographs. This is a Rosario Dawson signed Ahsoka #1, East Side Comics edition. That one sold for $400. This is One Stop Comic Shop, who's a trusted seller and friend of the channel. He's still got 2 of these available. One of them did sell at $400. Here was that Mandalorian Season 2 issue #8 that was signed by Mark Hamill. Look at that final sales price. I had this in a What to Buy video a couple of weeks back, and it was around $500. And I said, I personally wouldn't go above $600, $700, maybe $800 max. It sold at $1,025. I mean, every time I see a Mark Hamill signed Star Wars Signature Series 9.8 with white pages, they go for big, big money. Over $1,000 almost every single time. And that's a pretty wild price, but it does look really nice. The green signature with the green lightsaber, it really pops. But it's not a price I'd pay personally, but that one was a big number, $1,025. Some Batman-related books, Teen Titans #12, the first full appearance of Batman Who Laughs. A great villain who has not shown up in live-action content yet, We'll see if it ever happens, but this is a good time to pick this book up. It's really come back down in price. The 9.8 ratio is actually fairly low for some reason. And, for a modern book, it's got a fairly low census count in terms of the 9.8 population relative to how many have been graded. $250 is about what you got to pay right now for that book. And The Batman Who Laughs is a great villain. So I'd pick it up now if you're into him. It's really come back down in price. Dark Knight Returns #1, obviously a classic book from Frank Miller. And this one sold in an auction for $700. That's about the going rate right now, maybe $750 to $800. Watch out for scuffs on this book. They get scuffs really, really easily because it's just such a plain cover that every little scratch shows up. But this is one I do have in my collection. Highly recommended. This is kind of the beginning of the Copper Age, in my opinion. It's just a beautiful book, great storyline, and there is a cartoon for The Dark Knight Returns in case you ever wanted to check that out. I think it's on YouTube or maybe on Netflix or Amazon, something like that. Pretty good series, though. Pretty good cartoon. So anyway, that one sold at $700. This is another one in my collection, Batman #423, a pretty classic Todd McFarlane cover. And this one is holding steady. $1,900 in a buy it now situation. That's more than what I paid for mine about a year and a half ago. It continues to really hold its value. If you're into investment grade Batman books, in terms of fairly modern books, Copper Age books, this is probably the best book that you can get. It's a very tough to get 9.8 relative to how many have been graded. It's just a very strictly graded book, and in a 9.8, it really holds its value very well. And it's obviously a beautiful cover. I mean, this is one of the classics. I'm so glad I have that in my collection. Next up, Batman Adventures #12 in a direct edition, the first appearance of Harley Quinn in comics out of DC continuity. This is the one to get if you're into Harley Quinn. This one sold in an auction for $1,500. There was another one that sold at $1,850. So this is one to be patient on and wait for an auction. Don't pay $1,850 when you can pick up one for $1,500. That's a huge price difference that both of these sold within a few days of each other. Don't pay $350 more than you need to. Wait for an auction if you can. This book is on the way down right now, and $1,500 is a great price point to aim for. This one was freshly graded, beautifully centered, beautiful colors. Another really good book to get if you're into the Batman books out there. Vengeance of Bane. This is one that's held up very well. Very well. It kind of dipped down below $200, and I bought one of these for my brother as a birthday gift, and I got it for $190. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll pick up one for myself at some point. And then, of course, I waited too long, and now they're going for over $300, believe it or not. This one sold for $370.50. I wouldn't pay that personally. I'd try to aim for closer to $300 or under, but this one was a pretty perfect copy with no scuffs on it. This is another one that really shows scuffs very easily, but this is obviously the origin and first appearance of Bane. I imagine we'll see more of Bane at some point in the future. Some other autograph books. This was a Michael Keaton signed Batman #2. That one sold in an auction for $375. And then rest in peace, Val Kilmer. He recently passed away. This is a book signed by Val Kilmer. That one sold for $332. Never let some celebrity's death go unexploited. I think it's kind of tacky to be listing one of his books right after he passes away. But who am I to judge? That's what they decided to do. And it was a beautiful looking book, and it sold for $332. This is a Zoe Kravitz signed Batman #139. Some of you may like her. Some of you may not like her portrayal as Catwoman in the Robert Pattinson Batman movie. I thought she was great. I thought the movie was fantastic. I cannot wait for part 2. They're apparently just started filming it. I can't wait. This is the Batman with Robert Pattinson. I went into it with pretty high expectations and expected to be disappointed. And I walked out of there not only impressed, but I thought they blew away any expectations that I had. It was one of my favorite Batman movies ever. I'm being honest. I'm putting it up there with the Heath Ledger Batman movie from Christopher Nolan. I think the Robert Pattinson Batman movie was better than 2 of the 3 Christopher Nolan movies from the trilogy. I just thought it was incredible movie, and I thought she did a great job. I mean, some people may not like her portrayal. I personally did. But anyway, her signature book sold for $218. We had a Paul Rudd signed Astonishing Ant-Man. That one sold for $220.50. So if you're into, autograph books, there's some really good options out there for relatively inexpensive if you're into collecting different autographs from superhero movies and whatnot. Here's an interesting one from 1974, Jungle Action number 8. I had never seen this book, but this is the origin of Black Panther in a 9/8 with white pages. That one sold for $4.95. I mean, to me, that's a pretty good buy from 1974, 9/8, and you get the origin of Black Panther. That's not a bad book at all. I thought that was a pretty good buy. Some X-Men books. We had X-Men number 121. This is from 1979 and the first full appearance of Alpha Flight. I gotta believe we'll see Alpha Flight at some point in live action content. And that one's held up pretty well. That one sold at $7.50. That's down maybe $100 or so from last year, but that's still a great cover. The first cameo appearance is X-Men number 120, but that's a very, very expensive book. You're talking $2,500 to $3,000 the last time I checked. So for a more affordable option for Alpha Flight, I would look at the next issue, X-Men number 121. $750 is much more affordable for a 9/8. X-Men number 142, this is a continuation of Days of Future Past. And this is one I still want to get. And this one has come way down in price. I've seen $350 and I've seen $395 for sales prices. I do want to get that to pair with my X-Men number 141. The Watchmen, I recently rewatched Watchmen, the movie. I loved it. I thought it was great. It was ahead of its time. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's a very complicated movie, but it's a movie that I think if it had came out today, it probably would have done much better. It's hard to believe that that movie came out when it did. It's just so far ahead of its time. It's an amazing movie. But anyway, the first full appearance of The Watchmen, this one was from 1986, and that one sold for $587.50. I think that's a criminally undervalued book. I would definitely pick it. I mean, the cover is kind of plain. It's not the most exciting cover, so I understand I understand why it's not that valuable and why there are a lot of them on the census, but I don't know, man. I just think that The Watchmen was such an awesome movie, such a great movie. Wolverine. We'll finish off with some Wolverine books. We had Wolverine Limited Series number 1, 9.8 Direct Edition. That one sold at $575. So that's really held up pretty well. In an auction, you might get it around $500, but $500 to $575 seems to be the going rate, depending on how well it's wrapped and centered and all that stuff. This was recently graded and had perfect centering to it, so somebody paid up just a little bit on that. And then finally was a newsstand edition of Wolverine 17. This is a beautiful John Byrne cover and sold for $6.95. I hope you enjoyed this look at recent sales for CGC Graded Comics. Be sure to leave me a like if you did. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll be back soon.